Hi, I'm Sean Conway and I'm currently a month in to the Speedo Swimming Britain Challenge. How's the journey going? It's going a lot better now than it did at the beginning. It's great, we've finally fallen into a bit of a routine with the crew and I. The first few days were really tough. Obviously I hadn't swum any sort of distances like I've done in the last 3 weeks, so my shoulders were really sore at the beginning. The weather was awful on the first week. The support boat couldn't get near me because the waves were too big. But as you know, the weather has been amazing for 3 weeks, so someone up there is looking after me and giving me some calm weather. So at the moment, things are looking good. Funny story, there's loads of funny stories. The first one being, all the crew except Jez, the skipper, got seasick within half an hour of day one. So, you know, even though I put on the interview questionnaire, do you suffer from seasickness? And they assured me they didn't, but to be honest, even I was sick at the beginning. So there was a point where Em was in a bucket, I was throwing up overboard, Owen was on deck somewhere, and we actually made only 1 mile progress that day. It was quite funny now looking back, but at the time we felt awful. A couple other things. The first time we saw dolphins, it was a bit of a scare because we didn't really know what these fins were shooting through the waves. That was quite funny. But yeah, those are the two that stick out. But you know, there's been a few others and more to come, hopefully. The hardest part has definitely been the first few days. Getting around from Land's End to probably all the way to St Ives was 2 or 3 days where the waves were just not in our favour. The support boat couldn't get near us. It was myself and Em in the kayak by ourselves for hours on end. Still hadn't quite worked out the nutrition and all that, so it was struggling nutritionally. And also I was in the last week of planning a big expedition. There's so much going on, you know, you're trying to do all your sort of paperwork at home, and you know, when you're leaving home for a good 3 months, you've got to make sure your gas bill's all sorted in advance and your rent's sorted in advance. So you don't generally get that much sleep in the lead up to a big adventure. So yeah, I was just really tired, really fatigued even before I started. So the first few days were quite tough. And also we were finding our feet. Just I was finding my feet in the water, the crew were finding out, you know, how things are like at sea, and trying to overcome seasickness. So yeah, those first few days, there's a notorious day called Lighthouse Day, which was I think on day 2 or 3, where I had to beach myself on big cliffs because I couldn't get around a headland because the tide had changed and there were no beaches. So I had to like scramble up rocks and everything. So that was quite tough, but it's been a lot better now. Typical daily routine, well, it's very tidal dependent, but at the moment I've been kind of getting 2 tides. So I get an early morning tide and a late evening tide. So I get woken up by the crew about 40 minutes before I'm in the water. I'm in bed, I have a My Protein shake with carbon protein to recover. I then put all my kit on, which is quite a long process because my Speedo wetsuit's really perfectly well fitted and it takes a while to sort of get it on, and sometimes it's quite wet from the night before, so that even takes a bit longer. But once it's on, it's super snug. Then in the water, and I probably swim for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours at a go. Then I need to stop and feed and eat and have loads of calories. I try and have about 1,500 calories every time I eat, and then back in the water. Do that for 6 hours, so 3 sessions probably with a good tide. After that, I have to break because the tide's then going against me and I'd go backwards. So this is when the adventure side is coming out, because generally if we're in a place like this, we can anchor up like our boat in the background and we can go exploring, and it's been brilliant because we've explored shipwrecks and beaches where you can only get to from the sea. So it's amazing to see Britain from a coastline point of view. And even parts of Cornwall. You think Cornwall has been really quite populated, loads of places. We didn't see people for days on end because we were at sea and going ashore and been catching fish and cooking it on the beach. So it's been amazing. Then obviously the tide's back in my favour, usually in early evening at the moment, but obviously that shifts. and then back in the water and repeat it again for another good 6 hours. So trying to do about 10 hours in the water at the moment. And then in the evening, if we can anchor up and come ashore, we do that. If we can't, we stay on the boat and then do the same thing the next day. And I try and have a rest day one rest day a week at the moment. Didn't have any for the first 2 weeks, then had a few days off. Got a few days off here in Wales before the next big crossing, so. What am I thinking of while I'm swimming? Usually about when my next meal's gonna be. Yeah, I try and switch my brain off, to be honest, and try and, if I'm thinking too much, it just takes forever. So I like exploring. I generally at the moment breathe to my right only, which is not great for my style, but it means I can look at the land at least and explore the coastline. I'm thinking about food a lot because I need to keep warm. Thinking about the next place I'm going to sort of stop at. You know, the crew and I have designed some cool routes to stop at some cool places on the coast. So looking forward to that and just trying to get the miles down, to be honest. I try and listen to music when I can, and that does help me sort of switch off a bit and keep swimming, so makes the days go shorter anyway. The hardest part with every day is just getting in the water in the morning because it's so cold. I'm still not used to it. All the swimming crowd are really sort of giving me grief because I'm cold in a wetsuit and they're out there just with their sort of, you know, their small speedos on. So yeah, just trying to, you know, not mention the word cold. We've banned the word cold on the boat. We're not allowed to talk about it. If it wasn't cold, that's the thing that really gets me at the moment. It's just the coldness. So I'm getting better at it. I'm either acclimatizing or actually it's getting a bit warmer anyway. So I just try and focus and zone in, which is quite hard. It's that first moment, I always lose my breath a bit, and then I do about 100 meters really fast, get warmed up, and then it's fine. But yeah, just that first moment. There's quite a few photos that the crew take of me just sitting there trying to go, oh no, it's so cold. But I'll get over the cold soon. I better, because it's, you know, Scotland's going to be way colder than this, so I need to man up a little bit, I think. Physically, I've never done a sport that's so physically demanding, you know. Obviously the last big adventure I did was cycling based, and with cycling at least you got the downhills to recover a little bit, have some water, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a whole new different challenge this. Burning a lot more calories than I thought I would be, having to eat a lot more frequently, and a lot more protein in my diet just to build the muscles. So yeah, keeping on top of my diet is the thing that helps the most, trying to cope. A lot more stretching, need to do that a lot more. But I think it's just the eating, the diet thing is the thing that I sort of probably slacked a bit in the lead up. I really needed to focus on that a little bit more. But yeah, I'm getting stronger. The first few days were hard, but my shoulders are strengthening up. And I've lost pretty much as most of the weight I can lose. I'm down to the sort of the thinnest, healthiest I can be. If I lose any more weight now, I'm going to start losing muscle mass, and I don't want to do that. So I think I just need to eat more. But yeah, just burning so many calories, sort of 700 calories an hour, as opposed to, I think I was only burning 300 or 400 on the when I was cycling. So yeah, still early days, it's still 3 weeks in, so I'll no doubt have a different answer in a month's time. But at the moment, it's just mainly nutrition, and with the help of stowaway foods and my protein, that's definitely helping me. Oh, the support from companies and brands and the general public and the charity have been amazing. War Child have been brilliant. You know, they're showing me a lot of love, and that's great to help raise money for people in Central African Republic. Speedo have been brilliant as well. They've got a really cool little page on the website which actually documents my route, which is quite, you know, there's loads of content on it, and that's great. And I got the Speedo wetsuits are amazing as well. You guys at SimplySwim have been super great with helping me and coming and doing some filming and supporting me and the crew with kit, which has been great. My protein and stowaway for our nutrition. Without them, I'd be a lot thinner right now. So and just the general public on Twitter and Facebook. It's been brilliant, sort of getting messages every 5 minutes, and people showing their support, and a few people saying, oh, after seeing your swim I want to do the channel, which is brilliant. You know, that spurs me on. So yeah, it's been great. And the great British public generally en route have been brilliant. You know, the crew and I have been offered free accommodation, meals. People have helped us go and get fuel and petrol and food when we come to shore. So yeah, it's turning into a great social adventure, which is kind of what I wanted it to be in the first place. So. The kit from SimplySwim that's helped me the most are the fins. I'm using fins when the tides are against me. There's been some places, especially when you cross some sort of big eddies, the tide sort of changes direction, and I wouldn't make any progress. The problem with the fins is it kills my legs though. So it's quite tough, so I've had to strengthen my legs a bit and that sort of thing. And the thermal kit I'm wearing under my wetsuit has really helped me with the cold. Wearing a hood, you know, keeping your head warm, that's really helped. And gloves actually, because there's sometimes there's so many jellyfish, you know, I don't want to get stung or anything. I actually pulled my tricep a few days ago because when I took a stroke I put my hand in a massive jellyfish and my knee-jerk reaction pulled back, and I pulled my my tricep, and that was halfway across the Bristol Channel, so I couldn't rest or anything. So I was sort of dropping my shoulder and swimming in circles. The crew were getting really annoyed because with 4 strokes I was heading off in the complete wrong direction. So yeah, it's been really useful having that kit on board, and yeah, hopefully it's not going to get too much colder, otherwise I might need more thermals. The next part of the journey, well actually as of today, was a very, very off the key decision. We were sitting in the pub with the crew, having a bit of downtime, and we were scrolling on the map, and just the corner of Ireland came into view, and we're like, that can't be Ireland, it's not that close. And we zoomed out and we just didn't realise how close Ireland actually was. So the original plan was to go up Wales, cross to the Isle of Man, up to Scotland, and then across the Mull of Kintyre, which would have been 3 big crossings. We've had such good weather that we've decided to, instead of do those 3, do 1 bigger crossing to Ireland, and then it cuts out the other crossings because we can't rely on having good weather for the next month. And if we get stuck at the beginning of a crossing with bad weather, we could wait a week or more. So while we've got good weather like this, we're going to do a big crossing to Ireland, which is going to be a whole new chapter to the adventure. Very last minute decision, but you know, that's part of the adventure, right? Is having a bit of fun and exploring new places. So yeah, the crew and I are really excited about exploring the east coast of Ireland, getting all the way up to above Belfast, and then cutting into Scotland from there. And also probably saves us a week. So hopefully I can get to Scotland before the water gets too cold.